Well, meanwhile, Henk Laterken and Lucas Morais made the most of NASA's woes in their three-horse race for the World Championship title. Laterken said he gave himself a talking to after yesterday's poor prologue and had a much better day as he came fifth. But it was his fellow compatriot Zille celebrating overall victory after a really impressive performance. He said he felt the pressure today to finish the job, but he got it done as the BBR Motorsport team celebrated a 1-2. After 302 kilometres against the clock, there was just a single second separating Ferreira from this man, Lucas Morais. The Brazilian described it as a very intense stage, saying he's not sure he's ever had to change gears so many times in a single day. He feels he's lacking a little bit of race sharpness, but still finished the day in second. Gonçalo Guerreiro, who cut a frustrated figure back at the bivouac. The Portuguese star spent a long time eating dust behind the ultimates and felt he could have won by a bigger margin. With Matthias Ekstrom retiring though, he is our new overall leader and was happy to bounce back after a tough day yesterday.
I want to apologise to the team.
And that handed the stage win to Puk Klaassen, who surged from 8th place at the halfway stage to finish first after doing a sensational job in the dunes. After some issues yesterday, she and Augusto Sanz just tried to keep it clean. It's a big moment for the Dutch-born South African, who thus claimed her very first victory in the W2RC.
I wasn't expecting the result, to be honest.
Emma is certainly riding the Rally Raid roller coaster this week. He came from deep in the field today to take a memorable victory by just 44 seconds. The Spaniard said it was a tough old stage, especially with the dust from the cars in front, but by the end of it, he was back up to 3rd place overall. Well, that means Alatia has closed the gap on his remaining championship rival, Lucas Morais. The Brazilian lost around 6 minutes to the Qatari after a slow puncture in the final 60k. He and Armand Monleon were eventually forced to change the tyre. Morais, though, is now up to 2nd overall, and he'll keep pushing. The Ford Raptors of Carlos Sainz and Nani Roma also struggled to find their way, but apart from that, they avoided any major issues. El Matador absolutely thundering his way between the fields. He now sits just 4.5 minutes off the lead. Speaking of idols, Carlos Sainz went absolutely tearing through the field today, having set off way back in 29th position. El Matador did have to stop at one point to clean mud off the windscreen, but otherwise he was on an absolute flyer. This Ford Raptor is looking in excellent shape. Sainz was 2nd with Nani Roma in 5th. After all, age is just a number. Ordinary experience. But the fastest man on the day ahead of Sainz and Serradori was Nasser Al-Attiyah. The Qatari's overall hopes took a huge blow yesterday when he incurred a 15-minute penalty for missing a waypoint. Without that, he would have a handsome overall lead.
A lot of navigation in the stage, and we don't.
5th today, but holding on to 2nd overall, Italian Enrico Gaspari. His best result in 4 appearances.
I love Abu Dhabi Desert Challenge. For me, is the best rally in the championship.
But that is only half the story. Gaspari's regular co-driver is Fausto Motta, who was in Turkey the week before flying to the UAE.
My co-driver is located in East.
Well, meanwhile, Sebastian Guayasamín finally landed a blow in his World Championship fight with Yassir Sayyidan. The Ecuadorian has been losing time to the Saudi all week, but a broken wishbone for Sayyidan allowed Guayasamín to close the overall gap to under 15 minutes. Tomorrow's finale promises to be a thriller.
My wife and kids are coming in from Ecuador.
Christian Baumgart's gain, the Brazilian moving up to 5th overall in his ex-Rally Pro Drive Hunter. He has had some issues with the car this week, but today they had a cleaner run to finish in the top 5. Christian's father hails from Cordoba, but this is his first time at Ruta 40, and he has loved it, saying it's been his favourite round of the World Championship. The Greek privateer has decided to try his hand at Rally Raid, teaming up with M Sport to race a Ford Raptor T1 Plus. On a day when Carlos Sainz dropped out of overall contention after hitting a rock and damaging his power steering, Sergio Redis had maybe his best outing of the week. He currently sits inside the top 10 overall. Well, Dacia did finish with a car on the overall podium, that of Sebastian Loeb, but the Frenchman wasn't overly satisfied with third place. He shipped a lot of time changing the wishbone on stage 2. Without that, he might have been fighting for overall victory.
Could be much better. We had
Dania Akil had another day to forget in the Challengers. The Saudi was leading the stage at kilometre 96, but she took one corner too hot and flipped over. That cost her a couple of minutes. She finished up in 5th place overall. Compatriots João Diaz and Nuno Moraes. The Santag racing man said this part of Morocco is similar to Portugal, and that might explain how they completed a 1-2-3. Diaz described it as a perfect day before he even realised he'd won the stage.
I don't know if you saw.
The 4-time winner of the Race of Champions taking his 12th W2RC stage victory. With Ford M Sport only entering one car in Portugal, the Swede is back in the Can-Am that he developed with his own team, EKS, and he's off to the perfect start.
It's great to win.
With only 46 seconds separating the top 4 crews. João Ferreira hitting back after yesterday's frustrations. He was 4th quickest and would end up in 4th place overall. Matthias Ekstrom was the fastest. The W2RC contenders have been keeping a bit of a low profile so far this week in the Challengers, but today, Pau Navarro powered his way to 2nd place. The Spaniard was a little over 3 minutes off the pace, but he is looking to keep the pressure on the World Championship leader, Nicolas Cavigliasso. Well, victory. It was a day of differential drama for the Toyota Gazoo Racing W2RC team. Seth Quintero was going great guns at the start, topping the early timesheets, but when he got to the dunes, he lost the rear diff through no fault of his own. That ended any hopes of taking the stage win. But our new overall leader is his teammate, Lucas Moraes. Once all the calculations were made, the Brazilian ended the day in 3rd place, behind Loeb and his other teammate, Henk Latterken. Moraes had just tried to be smart today, keeping it clean and avoiding big mistakes. He'll be setting off in a decent position tomorrow, and he'll keep pushing until Lisbon.
It's part of a rally, especially.
Lucas Moraes was targeting the win today, but he didn't take too many risks and finished 3rd, only 13 seconds quicker than Alatia. Virtually, he's just 2 points behind the Qatari in the overall W2RC standings. Tomorrow, it's winner takes all.
Today, I was a bit too careful with the car in the rocks. I couldn't push a little more.
It's all change in the Challengers today, with the overnight leader Yassir Sayadan dropping out of contention after breaking his steering rack. Nicolas Cavigliasso made the most of it, climbing up to 2nd after a solid day. The Argentine now just has to keep a close eye on his final remaining World Championship rival, Pau Navarro, who's 29 points adrift today and have some rabbits to chase. And between 8th and 10th looked like a bit of a sweet spot. Ryan Baragwanath came 5th for Century Racing, climbing up to 2nd place overall after a nice clean run. It wasn't all good news though for the South African manufacturer, as Frenchman Mathieu Serradori retired due to a slipping clutch. And the 9-time World Rally Champion did an excellent job, only dropping 3.5 minutes. He and Fabien Lurquin didn't push too hard, staying very focused on navigation, and that conservative approach paid off as he came 3rd. Not a bad day at all for the Dacia Sand Riders, although Nasser Al-Attiyah did slip down the standings after a late penalty. Sebastian Loeb described this as a difficult day, but by the end of it, he was actually leading the Safari Rally. The Frenchman finished up 4th quickest and said he was happy with the performance of the Dacia Sand Rider. Now he just wants to bring the car to the finish line with the best possible results. On to another fairly well-established name in motorsport, Sebastian Loeb, who's still very much in the fight for overall victory. The 9-time World Rally Champion set off 4th today and lost time early on, but he really put the hammer down in the second half of the special. A few little errors, but he is only 39 seconds off the lead.
Our rally raid concludes with that showdown for the trophy. Lucas Moraes, the Brazilian, had 41 seconds to make up on the race leader, but unfortunately for him and Armand Mondleon, their Toyota, like the others on the course today, found the conditions and the terrain in the early stages very testing.